Hey there, guys, gals, fans, and pals. John Megacycle here on an episode of KKND Extreme, and I know you've seen this before on my channel. I went through the entire Survivor and the entire Evolved campaign in original KKND. That was a copy of the game I got from, I believe, GOG.com. I can provide the link for that if you ever want to get the original and check it out. It's definitely an RTS that I feel really gave a lot to the genre way back. I mean, this game is, I don't know, 90s, somewhere around there. Definitely a classic title to look into, but that's not the reason why I wanted this episode today. Today, I wanted to announce, or whatever, this is the first time I'm catching wind of it, OpenRA, the same development team that rebuilt the original Command & Conquer, the original Red Alert, and Dune 2000 in their own engine. I forgot what the engine's called, but let's just call it the OpenRA engine. They are now working on a KKND rebuild. Now, why am I excited? Well, this little button right here. Multiplayer. This has, I mean, this opens up a ton of nostalgia for me personally. This is a game that I loved. I played the crap out of it when it first came out, and I replayed the entire series again for you guys, 2 years ago or something. So now, with this all rebuilt, you can see the resolution looks great. Everything's been rebuilt. It just looks amazing. Right now with this release, 2019-01-05B, there's no missions. There's just skirmish and multiplayer. But, I mean, amazing. I like, imagine, like, the game that you played as a child, and you're like, the game might have been bad, or it might have had its quirks, or it might have been just a little off or something, but it's like the first game you ever played. And it's amazing in your mind. Like whatever, right? Like, let's just talk about, like, Deadlock. Deadlock is one of those games for me, turn-based strategy. It's like god tier level status in my mind. It was quirky as heck. It had its own little, I won't say exploits, but it had its own little oddities about it that made it really weird. But anyway, I feel the same way like about KKND. So, if you're familiar with the OpenRA user interface, this is very much the same. Team, spawn area, faction, a plethora of options to choose. So, right now, the only thing that's available as an enemy is called the placeholder AI, which cheats. I'm just putting that out there. But that's fine. I can still beat it with a little bit of tweaking. I'm going to go Survivor. It's my favorite faction. They can go Evolved. I'll spawn in A spot. Let's go Options, Explored Map, Short Game, Resources are fine. Starting units, Oil Burn. If you're not familiar with KKND, the way in which you get resources is harvesting oil. Oil is what it's called to the survivors. To the Evolved, it's called Earth Blood. We're just going to leave that at 0. The oil patches can be set on fire and slowly degrade over time. We're going to leave that alone. We're going to shut off tech bunkers. I haven't experimented with that at all, but just as a disclaimer, the way tech bunkers worked in the original KKND is there's these little nuclear facilities. They're very small. And if you're the first one to get to it, you get like a very high-powered unit, which adds to a lot of flexibility on the battlefield, but I'm not going to mess with that. Game speed, normal. Oil patch is infinite. Tech level 5 is the highest tech level possible. No fog of war. I think we're good. Did I do the units? You normally start with a mobile base and a derrick. That's normal starting. You can do different kinds of support. I have to do eco support. Like I said, the AI cheats. They don't actually harvest the oil. They don't actually process it or anything. And they just get like a stipend of credits every so often or something. I'm not too sure how to explain it other than they cheat. So with eco support, we get a couple of extra tankers, another 2 derricks or something. So that allows me to keep toe-to-toe with the cheating AI. So let's just go ahead and get started. Now, if you're not at all familiar with KKND, I'm sorry, because it's a beautiful game. But as right now, I don't know how much tutorializing I'm going to do. Hey, get up there. What I do want to do is just get started as quickly as possible. You can see the oil patches here. They have a certain amount of oil in them. You place a derrick on top of them to become a drill rig. And then you build a power plant. The tanker takes the oil from the drill rig, takes it to the power plant, processes it as credits. Very straightforward, like Command & Conquer-ish kind of a feel. You get Tiberium. Tiberium is harvested by a harvester. Harvester brings it to a refinery. The refinery breaks down the Tiberium, makes credits. Or your money stuffs. That's really all there is to that. So it's a very cut and dry kind of an economic system. In this case, it's very self-contained, and we set the oil to infinite, so not that big of a deal. The other cool thing is, that was not in standard KKND, is this thing. There are little capturables. And I don't think you can actually see my mouse, which is unfortunate. So I'll try to do my best and try to point and show what I'm doing at any given time. For whatever reason, my mouse has not been showing up on a lot of the things I've been recording, so I do apologize with that. I have no idea how to fix that. Well, actually, you can see it. It's just very offset, which is interesting. Anywho, I've got my research facility. I'm just going to do a bunch of research. Researching is how you get up in the tech tree. With like Command & Conquer and Red Alert and Dune 2000 and stuff like that, technology was based on what structures you build. Commonly referred to as a tech tree. For example, when you first deploy your MCV, you build a power plant. The power plant allows you to build a refinery. Once you have a refinery, you can build a barracks. Once you have a barracks, you can build a war factory or something to produce vehicles. So the idea is one thing leads to another in terms of technology. Again, if you imagine it, it's like a tree. It just sprouts out on its own, kind of a thing. Build a thing, get a thing. Build a thing, get a thing. Build a thing, get a thing. It's very cut dry like that. So when you hear someone referring to the tech tree or the technology tree, that's really what they're referring to. Right now I'm going to crank out some vehicles. My resources are at the top. I don't know if you can... There. The mouse is offset, which is awesome. I might have to update my OBS again or something. I'm not too sure what's causing that. But I'm building one structure at a time, you might notice. The way in which this game does building things is you can... Where did my other tanker go? Hey, stupid. Up here. And now you're confused. I wasn't paying attention. I was doing too much explaining. What the heck was I just saying? Dang it, I forgot. Oh, building stuff. You can place as many structures as you want at any time. I could place 5 structures to be built right now, no problem. The issue that becomes a problem is the construction facility, in this case the outpost, that's what's building the actual structures. It can only quote-unquote build so much at any given time. So if I place 5 structures, I could have built one structure 5 times and it would have gotten to the same effect. So place a structure, let it finish. Place a structure, let it finish. Place a structure, let it finish. Or I could place 5 and they'll all get done at the same time, albeit at a much slower rate, because each building is only getting 1/5 of the building power. I think I'm explaining that right? I'm not sure. Either way, you'll see me build one building at a time. Oh, we got some neutral defenses up there, just dinking around. Alright, so I research at my research facility first. That makes all other researches faster, which is good. Yeah, so see, I could build 2 guard towers, and they'll both take half of the time, or twice as long, but they'll both be ready. So that's kind of something. Build one structure at a time to make sure that you get stuff built as quickly as possible. That's kind of the deal with that. So I'm upgrading my outpost. Outpost gives me defensive structures, walls, a better radar. As you can see in the lower left there, I just usually leave it off, but at a resolution like this, I got real estate to burn, right? Research complete. Research started. And again, like I was saying with the tech tree, even though I've got almost every structure built, I don't get new units. I have to actually research at the facility itself to get new units. So I'm just going to plop down some thermal generators. Thermal generators are just passive resource gatherers? Resource makers? Whatever you want to call them. I don't quite have enough room there. The money in this game is interesting. The way in which this game works its economics out is it's really designed for you to spam a ton of units. This is different than the Warcraft and the Command & Conquer of the day, where you have to be a little more methodical on the econ and like how you're approaching your money base and how much stuff you have. In this case, with this kind of a setup, I've already got a ton of units out here. I'm just mass producing stuff. It never hurts to just have a ton of stuff. Let's take a look at the enemy real quick. Yeah, you can see they're cheating because they don't have any resource gathering methods whatsoever in place, but they're still producing a ton of stuff. So if you try to play this in its current state, toe-to-toe with the enemy, you'll lose. You'll lose 100% of the time. They just out-econ you and ruin your day. It's awful. But that's okay. I'm not one to complain. I'm one to find solutions and then kick those solutions in the face. Or something. Continue the research. There we go. Construction. We've got some automated resource gathering here. These thermal generators will just produce monies. It's a very straightforward thing for us. These structures, these thermal generators, were introduced in KKND 2. So it's really cool to have them kind of like backported. And like I said, this capture structure thing, this oil derrick, never existed in the KKND universe at all. The only thing that was quote-unquote capturable was the bunkers, the tech bunkers, which I've shut off. That gets one-sided super fast, especially like in KKND 2, you would get something called like a, it's not a UFO, but the best way to explain it is it's a UFO. And that's something that can really grind some gears, let me tell you, because it's a flying unit, and if your enemy doesn't have, or if you don't have enough air defense, it gets messy on the quick fast. Okay, that's enough of those units. Now, take a look at my cash, though. Up at the top, I'm sitting on literally thousands of monies, and that's a problem. If you're not spending it, that's a problem. Now, the same methodology in terms of building structures is the same thing with units. I could queue up infinity units, but the problem is they're going to be built at a much slower rate. There's only so much production power in the facility, so to speak. And once I get a little more teched up, I want you to spam Anaconda tanks. Thank you forever and ever. Amen. And I move my units out here. Right now, the only tech the AI is at gun tech, gun and arrow, which is about where I'm at too. For the survive, oh, they have flamers. That could be dicey. Iced them pretty quick here, no problem. Those civilian structures up here, those neutral defensive structures, actually helped out quite a bit. Bought me a little bit of time. I want you to make flamer ATVs, infinitum, forever and ever, amen. We've got some money, we've got some time. This game is a lot more generous in terms of resource collection and generation, as opposed to, like, Red Alert 3, I want to compare it to. Red Alert 3 is an example that it's a well-thought-out economic structure. It encourages growth. The mines that you can collect resources from have a very specific amount in them. When they're empty, you can still generate resources, albeit at a much slower rate. This game is a little more updriven in terms of how much money you're getting, especially when you get this kind of a system. 2 tankers with a power plant and a derrick this close together is ideal. But the thing is, it really encourages a ton of unit generation. Speaking of which, let's try to branch these guys out a little bit. I kind of want to build sort of a pincer move. When they come in, I can attack the center here, and they'll push in pretty well. So that'll give me way more battlefield control. So something like that looks good at this moment. And another thing that was in original KKND was the super weapons. I'm calling them like quote-unquote super weapons. They were the Wilbur Bomber and the, I forgot what the evolved version is. But you can see this airfield grants bombers. It's going to be just a unit that just builds on its own, and I can use it like within 5 minutes or something. Now that we've got a little bit more space, let's defend up a bit more. Some cannon towers, some missile towers. Want to make very sure that I'm not fighting for the same land twice. Never fight for the same land twice. Patton said that, I believe. What I'm looking for, let's get some SWAT troopers. We've got so much money. This is disgusting how much money I've got going on. The only real bottleneck of this game when you've got this much cashish is your research facility. I can only ever build one research facility. That's why I max out, or research lab. That's why I max it out. All right, here's what I was talking about. Attack move. Now we're coming from literally every direction. It's just gonna be, yeah. We're much more tactically sound than the enemy is. Now pull these guys back so the guys in the north can catch up. And now storm the Bastille. Pretty much. We're gonna move up our waypoints. Make sure that we keep our dominating control of the battlefield. A little bit of micro here. Get that all going on. Research. Another really great thing about the UI that I'm still not used to is on the right side. We have our sell button, which didn't exist in KKND. Also, we've got a research button, like a dedicated button for research. All the time, you'd have to go back to your research lab, click it, and click something else. Now, there's a dedicated button that just selects your research facility. Same thing with technicians. I want to demonstrate that real quick here. Technicians are how you repair structures. When I build my first technician, what should happen is I'll get a repair icon. There we go. See right there. Repair. Now, as long as I've got a technician on the field, they'll be summoned every time I click that button. Looks like we've got some dominating force here, which is excellent. I tried a couple multiplayer games as well. Very, very slick, very well done. I'm very happy with how this engine handles, I guess, everything. It handles desyncs very well. It just says, hey, this person is slow. Can you give them a minute to catch up? And I mean, this is a great, great, great system. I can't express that enough. There's one more thing that I wanted to touch on is capturing structures. Let's go ahead and I'm actually going to use the research button for once. There we go. Just pull back my troops. The AI will rebuild as long as the clan hall is there. Like I said, they don't care about economics. They don't have to. It doesn't matter. That kind of a thing. At the top in the center, you can probably see there's a little timer that's green. That's my color. And it's demonstrating that I will have a special weapon ready in about 3 minutes. Okay, let's go ahead and build some saboteurs. Saboteurs are how you capture buildings and reinforce buildings. So this might be really hard to see, but I'm going to select the structure. You see there's a green bar, a red bar, and a blue bar. Green bar is health. Red bar is, I'll call it the fortification level. I don't know what it's called. And blue is the research level. The fortification level means effectively how many vandals or how many saboteurs or whatever you have to use to take the structure. If I take a saboteur and put him in one of my buildings, my fortification level goes up. What's indicative of that between Command & Conquer Red Alert and this kind of a game was Command & Conquer and Red Alert had a unit called the Engineer. Engineer captures the structure, pretty much, wipe your hands, you're done, right? With the fortification level, you can actually build up your facility. So imagine these saboteurs just hanging out in this facility, ready to kill engineers that come in. It's a one-for-one trade. So here's a civilian structure. How many do I need to cap this? Okay, more than one. More than two. 3. Now it has a fortification level on top of it. And put one more dude in there. Oh, provides additional resources. I like it. I like it. I did want to show off the Wilbur Bomber. It's pretty awesome. It's great for unit clearing. It is effective against structures as well. But if you want my honest 2 cents about it, use it to clear out masses of units before you try to target structures. You can use it to put the final push on a structure to finish it off. But yeah, it's going to be great for these piles of units. It takes a little bit to get to its destination, maybe, I don't know, 15 seconds? Not too long. Alright, attack move is still a glorious piece of technology. I really love the revitalization of all these old RTSs. It really feels like there was so much care and dedication into the game itself, and even more care and dedication to bring it back from the dead. Like I said, you can play this on GOG.com. I think you can get it for a tenner, probably. I'm not sure. But the bigger thing is, now this is full multiplayer capability. The multiplayer capability in original KKND is just IPX over SPX, which is networking. Like, you have to be on the same network in order for that to work. It's not a fully... I'm losing my networking chops here. It's not a fully transferable protocol like TCP/IP. I'm gonna just run it like that. It wasn't internet friendly in the slightest. That's how I'm gonna call that. Now I'm sitting on a crap ton of cash. And Wilbur Bomber ready, as we've been notified, and we'll just give this a little nice showing. Bloop. It'll automatically build on its own. I don't know if it costs money, but right now I'm sitting on so much cashish, it doesn't even matter. Show off the Wilbur Bomber, clean this guy off, and then we can call this an episode. It should definitely get that turret. Oh, wow. Okay, that dealt significantly more damage against structures than I would have anticipated. Layman's terms, hooray! More bim bim for the bang bang. And let's just zoom in a little bit here. Yeah, buddy. One of the things I explained in my regular KKND series, but I'll explain now if you haven't seen it. You see how some of the boxes that these guys have are either gray, blue, or green or something aside from their health bar? That determines their veteranacy. Veteranacy is just... Oh, not mute audio. Veteranacy is just like any recent RTS game. The more combat that a unit is in, the more proficient it does its job. Period. Higher levels of veteranacy, excuse me, units will heal themselves if left alone. They deal more damage. So what you really get in a game like this is if you're really relying on like one unit, like a missile crab or a barrage craft or an autocannon, if like there's like one mega unit you have to hang on to, repair that sucker. It'll get better and better and better over time, and that's all there is to it. Short game was enabled. I killed all the structures. That deals with that. Victory. Definitely cannot say enough good stuff about a remake of a classic game like this. This definitely tugs at my nostalgia strings. It checks all my boxes. It's clean, it's easy, there's not a lot of logistics. It's just really build the base, smash the dude. It's very straightforward. So, I can't recommend it enough. I'll have a link if anyone wants it in the description below. You can go ahead and pick this up again. Don't forget this game is very, very fresh. It's still going under a lot of development. There's still a lot of stuff going on. There's still a lot of polishing to be done. But still, definitely a winner in my book. So, my name's John Megacycle. I'm going to call this an episode here. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to catch you next time.